It's yoga with Josie time. Today I'm going to be talking about back bends because a good friend of mine asked me to talk about back bends. And today I would like to talk about it more than demonstrate it. I will demonstrate poses and I will demonstrate how to get into it. But I want to talk about the important things to know what a back bend feels like rather than what it looks like, because it almost doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It's about what it feels like in your body and how you're doing it. First of all, I would like to say that it's very important that you don't do a back bend if you have excessive low back pain, if you have any blood pressure imbalances like high blood pressure or low blood pressure, you know, any hernias or ulcers. If you're pregnant, you shouldn't be doing back bends. And also if you have carpal tunnel syndrome in your arms or in your hands, it'll probably be difficult to support yourself on your hands when you're like in a wheel, for example. Yeah, that could be an issue as well. So there's different areas in your body that are important to note with back bends. The hip flexors, we need to focus on our core. That's going to help support the back bend and support your low back and your spine. And then we're going to be talking about opening up the heart and the throat and the shoulders. So you really want to open up this whole area. It's important to know how to breathe up into the chest, but still while firming the abs. How I usually demonstrate this is I'll ask to put one hand on the belly and then just breathing into the hand like this. So if you're breathing into your belly, your hand should be moving. This is me not breathing into my belly. A lot of people breathe up into their shoulders and don't even realize it, and then it's when we hold a lot of like anxieties when we can't breathe into our entire body. So once you find your belly breath, then you're going to keep going and inhale into the chest. So inhale hand, inhale chest, and then exhale chest, exhale hand. And now there's so much more air circulating through your body. So that's important to note in like everything that you do. For the back bending breath, we firm our belly, so inhale. When we inhale, we're just going to inhale into the chest while firming our belly. So I'm inhaling, and I'm really like firming my belly, like, yeah, like it's not like floppy belly. So I'm inhaling into my chest while firming my abs, and that's bringing length into this area of my body. I'm going to demonstrate some poses, and it's up to you to find like ways to integrate that into your practice. So we got the low lunge, this, making sure that the knee is above the ankle, and then we want to find the supporting strength here as well. So we're going to like scissor our inner thighs together. Instead of like flopping into the pose, I'm sucking it all in, and at the same time I'm finding the breath that I just did. So when you exhale, you can sort of like deepen a bit into it, but still keeping the engagement. And then if that feels good, you can stay here. If you want to go a bit deeper, you can even lift the back foot and then grab it, and then keep working on the breath. Lift my chest, my heart opens a bit more, and then I can really get a nice stretch in my hip flexor here. So you can even start in a child's pose, and then we're going to do puppy dog. So we're going to bring our hips just above our knees, and then it's kind of like child's pose. You're going to reach your hands forward, spreading your fingers, and then melting your heart into the ground. So my boot is going to be really high up in the sky. And then while you're doing this, you really want to keep the engagement in the core. So using that breathing into the chest motion. however far as you get here, it doesn't really matter. Sphinx pose. So coming into your plank, you can lower down all the way to the ground. And then it's important in this pose to be active all around. So you're going to push your toes into the ground to lift your knees, and then you're going to be pushing your pelvis bone into the ground to find engagement in the core. And then Sphinx is come onto your elbows. So while you're in Sphinx pose, activating all of the muscles back there to support your low back, you're going to do the same breathing that we did. So inhaling up into the chest to pull your heart forward, and your shoulder blades come together in your back. And then you can stay here, or you can push into your hands if you feel comfortable. Deepen a little bit more. And coming back down. And then another really good way to open up your shoulders if you're really rounded in your back. It's kind of hard for me to demonstrate this here because of my camera setting, and I can't really do anything about that. But basically, you're on your belly, you bring one arm out, and then with the other hand, you're sort of just gonna like push yourself open. Oh yeah, that's good. And same, I'm always keeping the engagement in my belly. I'm sorry you can't see me, but this is what's going on right now. And you can sort of play with this arm, bring it up, bring it back, keep it here, whatever's good for you. There you go, and then do it on the other side. Then I always think that it's really important to work your core a little bit just to make sure that you can support your low back while you're in your back bend, because even though you're bending your back, it's like the front body that's supporting you a lot during this. So just a little like warm-up exercise that I think is really important before doing your back bend is this. So coming to all fours in a tabletop position, we're just going to spread our fingers wide, wrists directly underneath the shoulders, pushing into the ground to round the upper back here to make sure that you're really engaged, and then pushing into the ground with your shins and the tops of your feet too. So that really activates the core. If you want to make sure that your core is active, flip your toes over and just hover your knees off the ground. And that's what it should feel like when you're in your tabletop. So here, we're just going to inhale to lift the left leg and lift the right arm, keeping the hips level to the ground, and then lower. On the other side, and then lower. And then while you're doing this, the back leg is working a lot, so you're trying to push into an imaginary wall with your back foot, and then that's really going to work the backs of your thighs, which we want to keep that engagement when we're in our back bend. And then you want to work your butt muscles to your glutes, and then at the same time your core is working, and all of those muscles are surrounding your low back, that's what's going to protect it when you're in your back bends. So that's what you want to think about when you're back bending. And on top of that, while you're doing all that, your inner thigh is like rolling towards the ceiling, so that's going to work the inner thigh as well. So as much support as we can. That's the key to not harming ourselves. So we're going to do a few of those, and then another good exercise that you can do if you're feeling adventurous and want to just keep going and really work your core is you can just flip it over and do it on your back. So in this case, I'm like upside down table, and then I want my belly to be like pushing into the ground to really get, again, that core engagement. And then same thing, I'm going to be thinking about all of the same engagements, and then just extending my left leg and my right arm. And see, I'm like shaky, that means it's working. I'm like, so you want that too. And then bring it up, and then the other one, bring it up, and then just do that like a few times till you feel the burn. So, just a short mini sequence if you're wondering how to put all this together. So you can start on all fours, and then we're going to be doing these. Do that a few times, and then these are really important. Cat and cow. Very simple, basic, but really, really important and really, 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 really good for your back. So that's when you keep the engagement in the core, drop the belly, bring the heart forward, shoulder blades drop back and down, and then inhale. Exhale, push it all in. Inhale to come up. Belly drops, shoulder blades draw back, and then your heart draws forward, almost as if you want to like push yourself, and then exhale. Bring it all in. So you do that a few times, and then you want to come into your plank. You might want to stay here for a few breaths to keep that core engagement. Think of the activation in the backs of the thighs, the front of the thighs. The inner thighs are rolling towards the ceiling. Your core is working, and then slow as you can come to the ground. And then here you can come into your Sphinx. Again, I'm thinking about all of my engagements. Come down, and then you can do your shoulder openings, your heart openings. And then on the other side, I don't have Sphinx where I am, but I'm doing it anyways. Do that. And then downward facing dog to neutralize everything. If you want more information on downward facing dog, I do have a video about it, so go check it out. I'll put the link in the description. Yeah, and then you can repeat that a few times. Oh, and then from downward dog, you can come into your low lunges. You can even bring your arms up and back. On the other side. A few breaths here. And then child's pose. Once you're ready to start deepening your back bend, it's important to ease into it. So you don't want to just do that and then go straight into a wheel. We're going to want to do things like camel pose, bow pose, bridge pose. So I'm just going to sort of walk you through those a little bit. Coming out onto your belly, you're going to do bow pose. So bow pose, you want to bend your knees, and this is already going to start stretching your hip flexors. So you're going to hold on to your ankles if you can. If this is enough, please, by all means, just stay here, and this is great. If you're feeling like this is really easy, let's deepen this a little bit. So you're going to inhale into your chest, bring your heart forward already, and then get that core activated. And then you're going to exhale and pull onto your hands with your feet and pull onto your feet with your hands so there's like a resistance happening while keeping the engagement. So your inner thighs are going to want to like roll up towards the ceiling and try to squeeze together. While your backs of your thighs are working, your front of your thighs are working, your core is working, everything's working. So inhale. Coming up. And breathe. Every time you inhale, you want to reach your heart forward more. And then one more. And then exhale. Let it all go. And then shake out your butt. And that really releases the low back. So camel pose, you come onto your knees. And you're going to lift up. And then you want to, again, before I do anything, I just think of like, okay, what am I engaging? Then I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I'm engaged and I'm ready to go. And then I can start by just like bringing one hand down to a heel, and then bringing it up, and another, and then bringing it up. Or I can even just keep my hands on my back, my low back like this, and just open like that. And when I'm doing this, I really want to like push my pelvis forward. It's really going to get the beginning of the back bend going and opening the heart a lot. So if this is comfortable, and you think you can go a little deeper, you can bring your hands down to your thighs, Or you can go ahead and grab your ankles. And then while you're doing this, you're pushing your body forward. Yeah. And gently bring yourself up using your core. And sit down. And then it's important to bring a counter pose because your spine doesn't only bend backwards, it bends forward too. So it's important to always get the counter pose after you do one of these. So we're in the child's pose. Okay, and now you can transition to your back and then we can go into the wheel now that we're ready. On your back, we're going to start with a simple bridge just to sort of prep our bodies even more. So for bridge, I'm bringing my heels in front of my butt, and then I'm just going to lay my hands and see how far they get. And then I'm already going to push my belly into the ground. So that's going to get my core active. And then I'm going to push into my feet and use the muscles in my legs to bring my pelvis up. This might be enough. I might stay here. If this is really easy and you feel like you can go further, keeping the engagement, you're going to scoop your shoulder blades under, and then if you can, interlace your fingers. And then using your fisted fingers that are together, you're going to push into the ground to bring your heart up even more. And then I'm breathing up into my chest. And then exhale, maybe bring my pelvis up a bit more. Squeezing my inner thighs together. All of my supporting muscles are really activated. And then when you're ready to come down, you can gently scoop your shoulders back and then come on down and give yourself a hug. Counter pose. And then we'll be ready to get into our wheel. So if any of these prep poses were hard enough, please don't do wheel, just work on those. Those are enough. But if you're ready to do wheel, then let's do it. So you're gonna start in the same way that you started your bridge. You bring the tops of your palms behind your shoulders. And then I'm gonna prep my core, prep my muscles, make sure everything's engaged. And then 3, 2, 1, lift off. And just bring the top of your head down just to sort of make sure that you're still properly engaged and ready to go. And then if you're ready, push yourself up. Think of everything we talked about, everything we practiced in all the other poses, and apply that to this. So inhaling up into my chest, and then exhaling, bring it a little bit deeper. If you want, you can push into your feet to bring your chest forward a bit more. And when you're ready, come on down. And yeah, and give yourself a hug. It's really important to do the counter pose. And that's it. I hope that that was helpful and informative in some sort of way. It is common to feel fear in this pose just because it's such an open and vulnerable position. You're just basically like exposing yourself rather than the common pattern that we see nowadays is like of being like very closed off and like very like inward or just very outward and exposed. So it's normal to have feelings of like, oh, like this is scary, I can't do this. It does open us up to feeling fear. So that's good. That means it's working. That means you're getting somewhere. That means you're growing. That means you're opening yourself up to yourself. And that's yoga. So just remember that it doesn't matter what your pose looks like. It doesn't matter how far into the back bending you are. Just as long as you're being very mindful about your body and being nice to yourself and taking care of yourself and being aware of what you're doing. That's the most important part. So if you have any questions or if you want me to make another video maybe explaining on something more specific or any other poses or anything at all, I talk about minimalism, I talk about meditation, I talk about authenticity and just like being yourself and all that stuff, and cooking as well, vegan food, that stuff. just let me know if you want anything, and have yourself a beautiful day, because life is a beautiful, amazing thing. Peace and love from my heart to yours. That's it.